Hi everyone! I've been working in the IT industry for about 13 years and not everything has been going great all the time. In this video, I would like to talk about the 7 mistakes I made as a woman in tech. It is a very personal and a pretty sensitive subject for me. It took me some time to actually get ready to talk about it. I wish this video could help other women in tech to recognize these mistakes and perhaps learn from them, and maybe help men who work with women in tech to understand what's that like for us to be in this industry. And before we start, please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. That helps me a lot with growing this channel and it helps other people just like you to discover my videos. Thank you! Let me give you some context about my background here. I've been working in IT for 13 years, as I already mentioned, 3 of which I spent working as a front-end developer in Russia, and about 10 years I do UX design, which is mostly happening in the Netherlands. Over the course of my professional life, I worked in all sorts of places. I changed a bunch of jobs, from a tiny web studio to some startups to a big international corporation. I think it's important to give a couple of disclaimers. Number 1, this is my own experience and circumstance. It doesn't mean that this could or should happen to you. And number 2, I am not blaming anyone for anything, including myself. We all make mistakes, and the best thing we can do is to learn from them. I wish that somebody could warn me about certain mistakes, that maybe I could avoid that, but the practice shows that we all learn the best from our own mistakes, unfortunately. All right, let's get to it. Mistake number 1. Wanting to act like the guys. Quite often I was the only female developer on the team. I must say that Russian developers are extremely skilled, but that community is unfortunately still not very welcoming and inclusive. That felt pretty lonely, so I tried the best I could to fit in and to be liked by those guys. I was trying to be tough, sarcastic, denying all the girly things, not showing that I don't know something or that I need help. I had a feeling that at least some of them thought, "You're a girl, what are you doing here?" So I really tried to prove myself, to show them that I'm just like them. I understand now that they probably didn't have an idea of how to deal with me either. So instead, I should have just spent more time to get to know them better, to connect, to build some relationship with those guys. Because that's something that I value much more than pretending that I'm like them, even though I'm not. Unfortunately, the stigma around women in tech is still very strong. The happy ending to this story is that in pretty much all places I managed to build good relationship with the other developers when I focused on being myself and relationship with people around. Number 2, judging women and myself. The willingness to fit in, to be liked by guys, made me want to reject, deny, and ridicule some of the stereotypical girly stuff. That being pop music, femininity, and the color pink. I even dyed my blonde hair for 10 years so that I could avoid the stupid blonde jokes. Another thing that I regret is judging women who prioritize their family or their personal life over their work. Now, I understand that prioritizing your personal life in one way or another doesn't mean that you are not committed to your job. Unfortunately, we still have a lot of double standards when it comes to prioritizing family for men and for women. Say, if a guy leaves the job early to go to a ball game with his son, he is a good father. But if a woman does the same thing, she is not committed to her work again. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, over time also doesn't really mean that the person is doing a good job or is committed. Now I fully support women in being anything you want, dressing up like they please, listening to whatever music, acting whatever they want. This is their choice. And choosing to be girly or feminine or act like one doesn't mean this person is unprofessional or stupid, even when it comes to such a male industry as a software development. Number 3, shying away from communicating more. Oh, let's be honest, I was just shy. And when you're shy, communicating with others is just difficult. It's scary, it's uncomfortable, and it feels really awkward. Back in the day, I was actually pretty happy with my career choice. I'm a developer. I can just sit behind a computer and not talk to anybody, just writing my code. You can probably imagine my surprise when I switched to the UX design field, which I love till this day. And that requires quite a lot of communicating, not only with your colleagues, but also with customers. So I had to learn how to do it and also get comfortable with that. I still find it hard though sometimes to assess how much I should communicate and with whom, and especially in the age of pandemic, it is actually better advisable to over communicate a little bit, because you don't really see people that much, you don't see their body language and that kind of stuff. I am still learning and I wish I had started earlier. I believe that being able to properly communicate is one of the most essential skills in life. Number 4, not asking for help. In my current reality, I see people helping other people in the workplace. Employers offer training and conferences for employees. They also offer some kind of mentorship or coaching or even buddies at work to help the newcomers to get up to speed faster, or to help people who want to learn more, learn certain skills. It was always hard for me to ask for help, because I thought I'm supposed to know and be able to do everything. Multiply that by my subpar communication skills, no wonder that was a big problem and a big mistake. I realize it's a coulda, woulda, shoulda situation, but I wonder if I managed to ask someone to help me or coach me, maybe mentor me in the developer capacity, if I actually have stayed a developer till this day. Mistake number 5, not spending enough time practicing my craft. And in this case, I think I would relate it only to the developer part of my career. I know a lot of developers because I studied with them, I worked with them, and I have seen that a lot of them actually spend quite a lot of time outside of their working hours working on something, either tackling a problem at work or working on their personal projects. And that's something that I didn't do, and I thought that could also benefit my career progression. To be honest, I wouldn't know if doing something more makes you like it more, or liking something makes you do more of it. Because when you do something more, you get better at it. And the better you get at something, the more you like it, right? To be fair, this doesn't apply to my design work. I did my fair share of extra design exercises at the beginning of my career, and I still read a lot of information online about design, about career, about how to progress in certain skills, and that all brings me joy till this day. One thing that I still would like to do is to have some fun side project, but I'm not sure if that idea still fits into my personal priorities. Number 6, not capitalizing on my own strengths. Well, the first problem with this mistake is to be able to identify those strengths. This is where asking for help would come in handy. I think it's very tempting and pretty easy to be critical and be thinking like, okay, I should work on A, B, and C in order to get better at it. I think it's pretty fair to think that some gaps have to be closed, especially if there is a legitimate reason of how that would help you, your career, your project, your company to move forward. The downside of that is you will get somewhat average in a lot of things instead of getting extremely good at something you're already good at. My assumption here is that doubling down on your strengths will bring you enough energy and momentum to also focus a little bit of your time on closing a couple of those essential gaps. Mistake number 7, last but not least, not speaking up when something feels wrong. This is the trickiest thing. I would still call it more of a challenge rather than a mistake. I still find it hard. I'm very uncomfortable with conflicts, and speaking up for yourself may sometimes lead to some kind of a conflict. And it gets especially difficult if the person on the other end of that conflict is rather pushy or loud or has already a bunch of arguments. Back in the day, I was in a situation when I was blamed for using a modern approach to building web pages because some expert that the management talked to pointed out that the technique that I'm using is just a fashion thing. To me, it was so obvious that that was the right thing, that it was an industry standard, that I couldn't find any words or any explanation to communicate that I am doing the right thing. The lack of communication skills and probably some lack of self-esteem went in my way. These days, I am more sensitive to my own needs and less reluctant to speak up. If something's wrong in either my personal life, so I need a break or help or something, or if I see a situation that doesn't seem okay to me. Alright, that was it for this video. What do you think about those 7 mistakes that I made as a woman in tech? If you're a woman in tech, do you recognize any of that? Does it resonate with you? Please leave a comment below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!